What's up, family? So I'm just here to have an authentic conversation as always, and I'm just letting off my thoughts in regards of life wisdom that I have experienced in my own life, and just wisdom I retrieve from other, mentors and individuals just kicking it, and the wisdom that they have given me. However, I fell victim to this situation, and as you guys can see from the thumbnail or the title, son husbands, right? I have fell victim to becoming a son husband. And a son husband, for you guys don't know, is basically you are the son to your mother, and you're basically playing the role of a husband to your mother, because the simple fact is your mother doesn't have a man. So, for example, if your mother isn't with your father, but she's seeking you to hold the burden and also bear the burden and responsibility in regards of leading her, being her emotional support, being able to vent to you, you taking care of manly things around the house. Now, thinking objectively, that's fine. Taking out the trash, cutting the grass, that's manly things. That's cool. But from an emotional standpoint, it goes above you just being her son, for the simple fact that now you hearing her trauma dump all her business on you. What she going through, her day, and everything under the sun and the moon, right? And the simple fact is, you playing the role of a husband because now she feel as though you have to either have the standard of the man that was in her life, that was her boyfriend or her husband or her man, and or she expect you to exceed those expectations. So you're either gonna meet the expectation to the man that she did have, if it was your father in that case, and you are being a replacement of your father now because you're in the house, or you're gonna exceed those expectations, back to my example, of doing even far more greater than your father, right? And I fell victim to this because guys, and I'm in my mid-20s, we can be groomed. And in this case, I was groomed in regards to becoming a son husband. And I say that for the simple fact that you are groomed for the simple fact that when it comes to you, not only doing manly things around the house, now I'm thinking objective. Nothing wrong with cutting the grass and taking out the trash and all that. But when it comes to you basically have to be the replacement of your father, and in my case, I had to, because my dad, eventually he got in a situation that landed him in jail. And the simple fact is, it was just me, my mother, and my sister in the household, right? And, I was a young man, 8th grade, going on to high school, freshman. I worked summer jobs. I've been working since I was 12, 13. Work summer program jobs, recreation, working with the kids, bring some bread into the house, to help my mom, pay for my uniforms, whatever I could do, because I know my father isn't there, and obviously that income isn't coming in no more, and we struggling a bit, right? All fine and dandy. But I became the son husband for the simple fact that the financial burden that my father was relieving my mother of, eventually I had to be the relief. But I'm a young man that's in 8th grade, going to high school as a freshman. I'm not legally able to work yet and get working papers until my junior year. But I'm an 8th grader going into high school as a freshman. But like I said, I worked a summer job within my inner city. They allowed kids in 8th grade and up at the time, to be able to get some money, put some money in their pocket. It was like 3 or 4 checks, but it was better than nothing. You know what I'm saying? And the simple fact is, I was basically groomed in the sense of, when my mother and my father had it out, oh, my son is better than you. He's better than a man of you. I was already being compared and put on the pedestal. So when my father had to leave out and do some time, I was the only one that ended up resorting to, look, you a man in the house now. So you got to do these things. Somebody got to do these things, because I'm not a man. So then, emotionally supporting, how do I do that, right? How do you do that as a young man, eventually becoming a man, but you're not a man yet, but you already have been groomed and already put to being in this son husband position, right? And basically, no matter how much I did, my mother, the anger that she had towards my father for him doing time and going to jail and going away, I had to suffer I had to suffer the consequences of that by whatever she felt emotionally. She took it out on me. You know, whether that was my behind spank, and if I deserved it, I take full accountability if I deserved it, because sometimes I may have deserved it. You know, being challenging or challenging my mother. And I can understand how frustrating that could be when we were struggling at the time. But majority of the time, I was doing the best I can with what I could as a freshman, technically going as an 8th grader going into 9th grade. And the simple fact I couldn't provide like my father did, you know, having that type of money and my mother being material, I was basically seen as not being the man that she expected me to be as a son husband. And the simple fact is, she loved my father for the benefit of him having boatloads of money and being able to provide with no problem. And she wanted to do what she wanted to do when she wanted to do it and be able to lay back and chill. And I'm an 8th grader going into 9th grade. I can't really work until my junior year, which I did work my junior year. I work at Wendy's and I got my working papers or whatever. And then I was helping out even more. And that's when my father came home my senior year when I graduated high school. So my father was gone away in prison 8th grade year all the way up to my senior year. And I was basically getting from all types of angles. I was getting the backlash of how my mother felt. Rather it was, you know, her just wilding out on me, you know, her just cursing at me for the simple fact that I wasn't upholding or exceeding the standard of my father being able to support her, provide, and bring money into the table. But I'm a young man, right? So, look, you could be groomed into it by the simple fact is, one, your family, you could see your father, witness your father and your mother argue, and then she's saying, oh, my son gonna be better a man than you. Or your father skip out, or the man or boyfriend she has skip out, and she expect you to fill that role, because who gonna mostly support her? Who gonna be there? Eventually, you fall victim to the situation because you in the house. You the only boy in the house. In my case, I had my sister and I had my mother. I was the only boy to become a man in the house, right? So, fast forward my junior year, you know, I worked at Wendy's flipping burgers, did what I had to do. I'm like, Mom, I can help you now. I was so grateful to help her, you know, because most of the time, most men, they deal with the situation of that you have to take care of mom if no man's around. And that could be financial burden, and moms could take it a step further and it'd be financial abuse. Because then you looking at the guy like, yo, where, in my case too, where all your money going at? What you doing? Why you can't keep a relationship? Why you never got no money in your pocket? Because the mother uphold the standard of making sure you provide for her and make sure she's straight while she sit back. And most of the guys in the 20s like me, they be sitting there having to hold the responsibility financially to make sure mom's straight. And don't get me wrong, you love your mom, you want to do what's best for her, ain't nothing wrong with that. But at the simple fact, you can't, you got to be selfish before you should be selfless. You can't pour into other people's cup and you still trying to build yourself up on your own. You in your 20s, you finding yourself, right? We all finding ourselves. That's an everyday thing. Working on being a better person and finding your way through life. So the simple fact that I was doing that and I'm still doing that as a young man now in my mid-20s and as a father, a single father, it was hard, man. It was hard, you know, because I felt like I couldn't do nothing to satisfy my mom. You know, I worked my job. I gave her all my checks. I was making sure we were straight. You know, my father came home. And the simple fact is I was being compared to my father when he was away doing time. And I was giving all my checks and doing the best I could. And it was never enough. And to the simple fact that, you know, my mom got in a situation and, you know, mothers will get laid off or they'll, you know, do away with a job and, you know, things happen to end with their job situation and they'll lay back. These are mothers in their 40s. They'll lay back and chill, and they son in their 20s, they just, oh, he'll handle it. Oh, he'll take care. Oh, he'll pay all the bills. And I did that at one point, right? So the simple fact is, and at some point, you have to come to the situation of some fellas, and in my case, I had to do it. Look, you had to choose, and you had to put out this ultimatum to simple fact is, look, Mom, you either got to respect this boundary that, look, I don't have to do this, and I'm doing it the best I can, the way I can, because I love you, and I'm providing the best way I can, but I'm still trying to build myself up at the same time. Can you understand that? And in my case, my mother was more material from my experience as a son husband at the time, right? I gave my mom money, she'll splurge it. But see, my father was always the top provider, always had the money, always was able to give her what she wanted when she wanted. I couldn't do that. I'm a young man still building. So the simple fact is, it's like, yo, mom, you burning me out. Like, let me get where I'm getting. I could give you whatever you want. I love you to death. And it could be turned into financial abuse. So like I said, she ended up tying ends and, be doing away with a job she had. She laid down for a while, and then she just got comfortable. And she in her 40s, and I'm in my 20s. She's like, oh, I handle. She expected me to handle, and I took care of it the best I could, make sure things were paid, bill wise, to the apartment we were living in, and I had to end up putting up an ultimatum, and it really came out when I had my son. Being a full-time single father, I can't financially provide for my mother, and I got a dependent really to rely on, and my son ain't asked to be here. So the simple fact is, I had to put out, look, man, you either gonna respect this or I gotta do away with our relationship. I love you, but I gotta love you different. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, man. I'm just being authentic and having a real conversation based off my experience and wisdom, man. On that note, family, let the love supersede the hate. Spread that peace, love, and positivity. As always, family, peace.